Check. Hey. We're live in the studio with the boys, Chief Lunes and illnsikk. Victor, what's up?
What up? How's it going, everybody?
Big pimpin'.
Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, so this is going to be an introduction to a whole series of podcasts that I'm working on that are going to be bike related. So, as you guys know, I run like a bike shop thing or whatever, so I've been heavily involved in the bike community for a long time. So I've been trying to work on connecting, like, basically what I've been doing with the bike stuff, but also like have a podcast where we can just chat about things going on in South LA and LA in general, California in general. You know, there's a lot of bike stuff going on, and you guys are heavily involved. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, starting with you, my man.
My name is Victor. I coordinate the illnsikk page. Illnsikk is a long time coming branding, self-branding, I can say, of myself and my work. I started off as custom graphic designer, going into custom builds for bikes.
Rad. And what about you, my dude?
My name is Eden. Some people call me the Chief, and
Chief.
I organize bike rides in South LA and most of the LA area under Chief Lunes every Monday night.
Cool. And where you guys reside? Like, I know you stay out here in Torrance, and you
Yep,
said
South
you're
Bay.
South Central, right?
Yeah,
Sick.
Vernon, Slauson area,
Oh, for
Central,
sure.
Western.
I'm familiar with both of those areas.
Yeah.
I'm honestly new to the South Bay. I've grown up in the South LA, like that side, Southeast LA, you can call it, or whatever, like Paramount, Linwood, Southgate, Compton.
The 710.
Yeah, the 710, where the 710 meets the 105. Yeah. But, yeah, so I want to talk, because, like, we were actually talking a little bit about it before we went on. What podcast, we were talking about organizing rides, right? And you guys are, like, what I consider to be the new generation of ride organization, right? But back in my day, which is not that long, I'm not that old, you know what I mean? But back in my day, there was Crank Mob, Family Ride, Taco Tuesdays, and Midnight Riders, and these things, right? That's kind of what I knew. But tell me, like, a little bit about how it's evolved from those days and kind of what it has turned into now. You know, because I assume there's a lot of, like, how can I say, like, back in the day there was a lot of party rides.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't see too many party rides anymore, you know? Like, but you guys are into the speed, right? You guys are...
Well, that's a 50-50. It's a little bit of both. You can't party, you can't have, like, it goes hand in hand.
Oh, you gotta go fast to party? But like, how, like, well, you're organizing races, right? So
yeah. Our races always tend to parties.
Oh, okay.
But you know, we try to keep the race as serious as possible until and then after, you know.
So what are the races that you guys have? You know, since you started your unofficial career of underground bike culture, what is some of the bigger accomplishments that you think are, like, in your belt, so to speak? You know what I mean? Because you guys are all city, like, recognized at this point, you know.
Yeah. When it comes to the races, I would say the gokart crit, the first one at nighttime, because I think a lot of people thought we were bullshitting, that we had a go-kart course, and once we, like, introduce everyone and show everyone that we had the actual course of a go-kart crit, people were, like, shocked that
they're like, no, LA Rat Race, like, no. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because we're not used to having nice courses, right? Well, like, what we see is, like...
LA sucks recycling.
Yeah, you know, exactly. Lots of cars, lots of traffic, hella dangerous, high-speed vehicles, potholes, you know, like South Central races. Lately, the only ones I've been to have been, obviously, your guys' races, and then there's also some stuff I've seen from U-Lock Mob. And there's a few.
Yeah, they do their annual, Cranksgiving?
Cranksgiving.
Yeah.
And I was there. We sponsored a little bit of that, and then as Fusion Workshop, the bike shop, I've tried to also cooperate with your guys' stuff and
of course, we see that
and do things here and there. Admittedly, not as much as I would like to, but that's only because the bike shop is kind of new, you know. So,
no,
so
yeah, but
everything's still
by
being
any
worked on,
means,
yeah.
don't ever discredit yourself just because of legitimacy, labels, dates. Bro, we're doing this by the seam of our pants too. Like,
yeah,
we're flying hard, you know.
Just you sharing our flyers means like a lot to us.
Yeah, so we try and do all of that, and when this shop used to be in San Francisco too, I had one up there, and you know the community is very similar up there in a lot of ways, but like, expansive in other ways. You know, like I think it's a more bike friendly city. There's more bicycle coalitions and government type stuff. But then there's also like the SFBMA. These guys, I've had one of these guys on the podcast, Taylor, who's the president of the SFBMA, talk about what it's like to, you know, participate in bike events up north.
Yeah.
And to be honest, most of y'all, like, everybody's kind of coming back and forth now these days, right? Like SF homies are coming down here. LA homies are going up there, right? Yeah.
Here, you want to hear the better one?
Yeah.
We got dudes coming out of state.
Out of state? Like where? Like
we had Jordan come from New Mexico. We had team FLX come from Vegas. They have a Long Beach chapter as well that they hook up with, and then they come out and knock pretty hard.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff that we want to see, you know, like not just like the inner LA communities, the bike communities, but also like
outreach.
Yeah, what's going on out there? Like, how can we connect with other communities and get stuff going, right?
Yeah, you're not only adding other factors but other flavors into the whole thing, man. It brings different styles of riding. It brings different riders. It brings different attitudes.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
that's crazy. And like, how would you compare? Like, have you guys been up to the Bay Area? Have you seen some of the racing going on up there, the crit races or the messengers or any of that kind of stuff?
Oh, you're talking about San Francisco?
Yeah. Oh, you thought I meant SF, the Valley?
No. I mean, we've heard of them because we have a few friends. I have a friend who's part of that. His name is Muerte. And,
yeah, I know Muerte. Yeah, we ride bikes up there all the time. My brother was messenger up there, so he hung out with my brother a lot, and all them fools, basically. You guys are hilarious.
We hear about them and how like crazy they are, and just the carrier and messenger community that San Francisco has. That's so powerful.
Yeah, I do think it's a little bit more active. As far as career work goes, I mean, to be honest, like SF is only like 10 miles in diameter. You know, it's a small city, and there's like 80 bike shops in that city. So there's like a bike shop on every corner, basically. You know? So it's condensed. There's hella bike lanes. It's easy to get to and from on a bike, you know, and there's less vehicles, less people drive, you know. More people just kind of live, because it's really expensive, so people are renting like a bedroom, you know, so they can't really have too much stuff. There's no parking anywhere, so you can't even have a car, you know, so having a bike is kind of the way to go up there, you know.
Sounds like Long Beach.
It's like, you can say, this was my prediction, and my prediction is that, because when I moved up to SF, like in 2015 or so, like, I noticed like all the differences, and I was like, whoa, like, I bet 5 years from now, LA is going to look like this, you know what I mean? It's going to get more expensive, there's going to be more bike lanes, it's going to look nicer, but no one's going to be able to live there. And tell me if I'm right, isn't that kind of happening like in Santa Monica, Culver City, Long Beach, you know what I mean?
I mean, there's some cities that are definitely raising their bicycle lane, like infrastructure, and they're accepting this into the growing commuter, like, population of people on bikes. Not just like cyclists, but commuters.
Yeah, not enthusiasts, but people who need it.
Exactly, and obviously we see some cities that are putting out and trying to connect to that basic commuter, but then we see some cities that are just
not doing anything about it. People are getting killed, and that nothing's being said or done.
Yeah, no, and you know what's messed up is that in SF, like, even though there's all this going on, you still see ghost bikes, you know? You'll still see ghost bikes all around, so people still get hurt, you know? So it's still not exactly like, you know, I think the United States in general is really not like, you know, we want to sell vehicles, right? We want to sell cars to people. We really don't like the what I call micro commuters, right? People on bikes, people on scooters, people on all. I don't know how you guys feel about scooters, and because I know like there's like jump bikes and there's jump scooters, and you know you go out there's like a million fucking scooters all over the fucking ground.
Yeah, there's that's a really oh man, That's a soft topic.
Yeah, we could avoid this question, this topic.
All right. Well, like I worked for some of those companies before. I worked basically in the whole bike industry, so I'll tell you like my perspective. I guess it's just they just don't want people to own stuff. You know, like it's easy enough for you to buy a bicycle, right? And ride it, right? And it's yours. But I think everything is kind of moving towards this whole like you don't have to own it. You can just borrow it for like $3 an hour or something, you know?
I really dislike that.
Yeah, so I think that's where everything's moving, including bikes. But luckily, these guys are kind of going out of business. Like the Uber bikes got pulled out, the scooters got banned by several cities. So they're getting pulled back. Like people liked riding them, but hell, people didn't like them being around. You know what I mean?
I feel like a lot of that stuff came out a little too like jump the gun.
Yeah.
Like, oh hey, look, we can put trackers and apps and let's hook them up and lock them and
That's another thing, bro. Like when working out for these companies, you learn they don't make any money. You know, what they're really doing is collecting your data and then selling your data to companies. Like, hey, look, this is where people ride, and this is where people buy this kind of stuff. You know, so if you want to sell this, maybe like they're selling
consumer data.
That's all they're fucking doing, bro. It's ridiculous. But besides the whole scooter, I feel like that's part of the expansion. Like, when you start seeing bike lanes, you start seeing Metro bike share bikes and Uber and like all these other things, scooters and shit.
I feel like all of that has its place in the world. By all means, some of us don't have the means to actually go out of our way and go pick up a $300, $500, $800, $1,000 bike. Something we just don't.
Yeah. And they're getting more expensive these days too, right?
Some of us just don't have those means. And Metro bikes, cool. Got it. That's a source of commuting for your everyday person that needs to get to A to B and they're not planning to own that bike.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not very supportive of the I don't need to own like type of standard that we're raising.
Yeah.
I feel like it's giving too many options to that new generation of people. Like, I don't need to commit.
Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, because learning, alright, first of all, you gotta know how to ride a bicycle, right? And then you gotta know how to maintain your bicycle, how it works, to know how to ride it, and then, all of these responsibilities that come with owning a bike, it makes you a better rider, right? But if you just this is why people are getting hurt on e-bikes. E-bikes are the new thing, and people are getting hurt because they never bothered learning how to pedal a normal bicycle, and then they jump on this super powerful thing and just and then smack.
They don't have like a sense of how fast they're going.
Yeah, they haven't assessed the gravity and the physics.
Some riders just don't know how to swing the bike yet or
they
turn
don't
it hard.
Shift their weight. What to do if you see a pothole, a bump, Have you seen these people? They're just sitting and they're just ba-ba!
Yeah.
They're just straight up hitting this fucking straight on, and you're like, dude, unweight yourself a little bit, come on,
Yeah, exactly.
It's really crazy, bro. Electric bikes, again, it's another one of these topics where, do you think it's hurting the overall bike community, or do you think it's getting normal people that usually don't ride, maybe riding? What do you think about those things?
I think there's a lot of people who cycle who are being converted to ride e-bikes or e-scooters, because I have friends who are personally switching.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so easy to rent these things nowadays.
Yeah.
And I work for the app sometimes, like for Uber Eats and Postmates, and they're promoting for you to rent these bikes under them.
Oh wow!
It's under a different name.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
But it's the same thing. They're highly invested in this rental e-bike.
That's crazy, because when people do DoorDash with a car or even Uber driving to pick up people, they lease you a car now. Like you can work for Uber. You can lease.
I believe from the beginning that was always an option, that they were like, oh, you don't have the car, you got the credit. You don't have the credit, you got the payment. We'll get you going.
Yeah, and so now even for the bikers, that's happening. So now, if you work for DoorDash or whatever, now you can rent a bike under them.
Under a different name, but they're promoting it.
They're promoting it.
So they're highly invested in this, and I'm telling you, I have friends who have been cycling for the last 10, 12 years, and they're mostly riding that e-bike now to do
I know,
everything.
yeah.
And
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I do think is kind of fair. Like when we're talking about LA, we're talking about a city that's enormous compared to like San Francisco or one of these other cities where it's like 100 miles in diameter. So like delivering stuff around here, it can be a little more difficult than the average city. You know.
Keep in mind, if you are a courier, if you work for an app, or myself, I'm a courier. I work for a private business.
Right.
I have a zone to stay in, and I don't leave my zone.
I feel it. Yeah.
See that difference versus that difference? He's on an app where wherever he's at is where he picks up, and wherever that order goes, it's where it gets dropped off. So that's the variable, having a random, unpredictable drop off versus having a dedicated zone to only drop in.
And a guy who like you have a guy like behind the scenes, right?
I got a dispatch.
I
got a dispatch. Yeah. So we just pop our phone and you're like, hey, pick up, drop off, boom.
Good to go.
Good to roll. And that actually, I feel like it helps us.
It does, yeah. Obviously, that's the way to go, you know. But in a situation where we don't have the option, and unfortunately, these big tech companies are our only option sometimes, right?
Yeah.
To make a little bit of cash. When deciding what vehicle to use, right? You're saying some of these people are switching over to the electric stuff just because.
Just get it out the way.
Preference, it's easier.
Yeah, I feel it.
You don't have to use too much of your physical energy to be riding these things, you know.
But let's talk about. All right, so one, there's a lot of pros and cons for all this kind of technology. The first pro, I think, is okay. I would rather have more people on even these little moped-looking bikes, or even mopeds, than full-on big-ass Suburban or Chevy Tahoes or these big trucks, you know. Because LA is known, you know, I know y'all know, like, everyone in the hood has one big-ass Suburban or one of these big family
cars.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I would rather have somebody driving a mile away on the e-bike than going a mile away on their big-ass Suburban.
Agreed. Agreed.
Right?
That's a good point.
So that's like one move towards more eco-friendly or whatever. But at the same time, these damn bikes have batteries, and these batteries, you know, someone in Africa is mining the lithium, and someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. There's pros and cons to all of it. Yeah. I guess pros I see as, what if you're an injured rider that wants to keep riding but doesn't have the ability to?
Yeah, and that's I heavily promote like the sale of electric bikes, and that's one of my main points is you know, what if you are an older rider but you want to ride with the young pack, right? And how can you keep up? You get a motorized bicycle and you can.
See, that's where the specifics of assistance versus e-bike comes in.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's two classes.
Yeah.
There's gonna be e-bikes that are like full on
throttle
moped-looking things, and then which I'm not against per se, but I prefer the kind where it's an enhanced bicycle.
We're cyclists. We want a bike.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I want to go in the dirt, you know, mountain bike on my bike a little bit, you know, and then jump off of stuff. I don't want this huge clunky thing that weighs more than I'm fucking, you know.
I'm heavily in support of injured riders. I have a huge aspiration of frame building someday, and
nice.
One of my biggest things is to study kinesiology, which is study of the body movement for rehab specifically.
Yeah, and cycling is a low impact sport, right? So it's very good for rehabilitation.
Yes. And there's always going to be a guy who's hurt. There's always going to be a guy who has a back injury, a bad shoulder, a neck, something where a posture, or in this case, an electrical assistance, can be totally in his favor.
Yeah.
Support the rider and keep him riding.
No, I feel it. Yeah, I agree on that point. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you guys dabble a little bit in the bike mechanic stuff too? So besides just the...
I feel like I would more than Eden.
Yeah, I just know how to change flats.
You're a bike rider. And a bike organizer, event organizer.
Pretty much, and I try to do like community outreach a little when we lose lives, cyclists or pedestrians. I try to voice that a lot more in lower income communities, like for example South Central.
Yeah, no, I feel that too. Yeah, because there's a lot of things. I feel like a lot of things happen in the hood, but it's like an echo in the woods. Like nobody hears
yeah,
about nothing.
Someone doesn't
it
see
goes
it at all.
unnoticed.
And look, here's one thing I really want to highlight. Sometimes I'm not around for it, and it kind of bugs me, but I didn't hear. I kid you not. What 80% of the ghost spikes you put up, you don't even know them.
I put up around 7 ghost spikes already, and 5 of them I didn't know them. Yeah, I was just.
That you see what I'm trying to get at? Like, dude, we don't even have to know them. Like, we will step out for you. We will reach out.
Yeah,
like,
we highly appreciate that. Believe me, you know, the cycling community is growing, but at the same time, there doesn't have a lot of what I call like core members. You know, like core participants. You guys are definitely that. You know, and I feel like the more guys we get that can put in that legwork, right, and go out there and take care of those things that need taken care of, obviously, you know, and the happier we're gonna be. You know?
Of course.
And I think in SF, one of the other takebacks that I get from those guys is, it goes back to the pros and cons. Pros, there's a lot of dudes doing a lot of stuff, right? So it's cool. Cons, it became heavily politicized. So some of my friends from the Bay Area are displeased with a lot of the politics now that are involved with biking. You know, like I kind of think biking should stay in its own lane, right? Like bikes are bikes, and you ride them, right? And we organize events, and we take care of the bike community, safety, like you were just saying, you know, ghost bikes, awareness, right? But then maybe keep away from the whole like politics in general, right?
In regards to like at least events, we keep all politics off page. Right? It's just not even a topic unless honestly, I think the most political thing we reach is the WTF scene, and that's kind of like if
what is that? Kind of explain.
So the WTF scene is it's abbreviated for women's, trans, and femme. For those that don't know, if you ever go to sign up for a race or you see a race or an event, period, and you see WTF, it's not what the fuck. It's women's, trans, and femme. It's 2021. Whether it's fortunate or unfortunate for some people, you gotta step with times or you're getting left behind. And we see it as we have to include more people, period.
Yeah, you know, I think inclusivity is important in anything, you know, so those are actually some of the exact topics that we were discussing with the San Francisco Bicycle Messenger Association. And it has to do a lot with those particular subjects. And old boys got into a lot of heat for either agreeing or disagreeing with certain subjects, or you know, deciding A versus B. You know.
Honestly, on some subjects like that, you kind of gotta stand kind of firm, man. It's
you gotta be, you know, you gotta decide.
You gotta pick a lane. You gotta pick the right words. Sometimes we sit here and like get our heads together, like, hey, does this sound good? Should we post this? Should we write this? Does this sound better? Because it's like we are well aware of flames and stuff that comes back.
Yeah, for real.
We're well aware of this.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that there's a lot of sexism and misogyny right now at this moment, especially with the last administration that was promoting racism and sexism and not enough equality. So we try to promote that, hey, everyone's going to be treated equal, even at the races, with the prizes, the cash outs. Because we've heard other groups or race organizers not do the same, so we want to be like, we want to set the example for everyone that everything must be equal, because we're all the same.
I think that's where a lot of the other stuff came from as well, from up north. It was just a lot of like, for example, I don't know how you guys feel about athletes. In my opinion, like, I think that racing as a sport should be categorized like, how can I say, like by weight. So for example, like, you know, like fighters, right? You got the heavyweight class, the featherweight class, and so I think if you classified racers simply by weight, you'd avoid all of these problems, right? Because then you're basically teaming everyone up against people that they can compete with.
Yeah, I guess you're actually bringing the real factors of what people really talk about in cycling when they compete, which is wattage per kilo.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was actually reading on that subject specifically today because I didn't understand it quite fully, and I do now.
Yeah, so there's a few things there that, you know, like women or trans women that participate in female specific racing, and then dominating that sport, right? Versus trans men who were biological females participating in the male sports, but then getting wrecked by the rest of the males because obviously they're more powerful.
So at least in our case specifically, we would still allow that to be a WTF contender.
Yeah, and I look, I'm not, like I said, I'm not pro or against any of it. Like, you know, I'm just trying to say I want to be as neutral as possible.
Yeah, of
and
course.
I think it would be great for it to be like based on, like I said, like weight or something like this,
Yeah,
as opposed to sex or something.
That would be like a whole scale conversion across the board.
It's not gonna happen today.
No, that's something that has to be introduced. And I don't think it's a bad idea. It has to be introduced, and you kind of have to expect some.
And how do your your races run now? If you don't mind me asking, like let's say for like when you do a race today, like how many people do you expect? How many people show up? You know, who wins? Who's winning right now? You know, things like this.
So
talk about your races a little bit.
Okay. We've thrown a couple races, and we kind of have the idea that we know that we'll have a certain number to expect. And the last time we threw out our expectation on paper, we went right over our expectations. So we aimed pretty close.
We had said like 30 fixed gear and like 25 roadie. That's what we had said.
I think it was 40 fixed gear, like 30 road bike guys.
It was tied. It was like 34 road bikes and like 36 road bikes and I think 34 fixed gear. It was like super close.
It was a good turnout.
It's a pretty good turnout.
We were not expecting that many road bike people to show up at all.
CBR, UCI, all that's gone right now, bro.
That's right. COVID has affected where people can race, right? So people are resorting to unsanctioned races like the stuff that you guys do, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing.
And how do you feel about sanctioned races? Is that something that you support or?
Yes, I've personally raced sanctioned races. It's a little suit and tie for me. just a little. And at the end of the day, we've had this conversation. Eden keeps elbowing me about it. We're gonna have to do it one day.
Yeah, it's gonna, you know.
We're gonna have to.
It is what it is. I personally feel very like, maybe it's just me, but like when I'm in sanctioned races, I feel hella out of place. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
I'm just like what? Like this is a lot of stuff going on here. I never even knew none of this. You know?
See, the thing
like
is,
a little South Central kid, little hood kid, in this like massive thing. And it feels weird.
Yeah, like in our group, I feel like the nerd. And everyone's all the hood ass guys. But then you go to the CBR races and you're like, oh, I'm not the nerd here. You're like totally out of place, you know. And that's another thing that we should bring up too. I feel like that kind of slightly leaks into a little bit of the cycling elitism that we see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's a good topic as well. Cycling elitism, because actually, I had a lot of messages before from other bicycle riders, right? Specifically about cycling elitism and what it means, not just in the bike racing community, but somebody was accusing, how can I say, the bicycle industry, like the mechanics, because there's a whole different like culture for bicycle mechanics, right? So like basically, if you worked at a bike shop anywhere in California, you probably know other people that worked at bike shops and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's like it's a tight-knit community, and some of these points that we bring up with racing and participating in racing is kind of the same thing in the bike mechanics. People will say, "Oh, bike mechanics are snobs. Bike mechanics think they know everything. They treat people like as if they're lower. They turn down work. They talk down to people and all these things." And then they also make accusations like the bicycle mechanic industry is run and perpetuated by a patriarchal white male society. Like, I've heard a lot of these things like accusations thrown at the bicycle mechanic bike shop industry, as if bike shops are in some one way or another male dominated and white male dominated, to be specific. And honestly, I don't agree with that at all. In my opinion, bike shops, I've worked with so many different races and ethnicities, and to be honest, it's just a matter of interest. I think males kind of gravitate towards mechanically inclined, professions.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why there's so many males working on bikes, but there's plenty of females that work on bikes as well. But as far as being discriminated against, I feel like it's a natural division, right? It just happens naturally. It's a naturally occurring phenomenon that
we have a mutual friend, Paula.
She's a bicycle mechanic.
LA Cyclery owner.
Shout out.
There you go. Hey, LA Cyclery. Yeah, Paula actually took our cross series last season.
Oh, cool.
Yes, killer. No, yeah, I find some truth to that statement you make. I feel like by all means it is interest, but.
Well, where do you see? Because you said elitism. Like, where do you see the elitism? In your opinion,
on the road to start.
Road bikes. Come on.
No, like on the road, period.
Oh, just on the road.
On the road, period.
How do you see it on the road? Like, how do you see bicycle elitism on the road?
Okay, me and Nana ride by, cross the street, we'll see each other, like, what's up, bro? What's up, bro? The elitist cyclist will say, what's up?
Yeah, who the fuck is this fool? Like,
don't even have to tell me about that, bro. SF is full of that, too. But I don't know, I haven't rode my bike in South Central too recently, except for, like, putting around town, picking up bike parts and stuff.
Yeah.
But I haven't really I haven't experienced like the new cycling culture in the South Central LA area, so I can't vouch for that area. But in the South Bay, I could say there's a lot of that stuff going on around here too.
Oh no, definitely, bro. We are, keep in mind the South Bay is predominantly middle class and upper middle class and upper class.
Yeah, there's nicer bikes on this side for sure.
Oh, for sure.
And there's dudes that are not happy with their electric bike. I can tell you this, like, there's a lot of people that don't like electric bikes on here. And there's a lot of people who love electric bikes. It's kind of like a 50-50 thing.
Here's a better one. They don't like you when their $10,000 bike doesn't go faster than your $1,000 one.
That's especially correct. That's my favorite one of anything. When the guy's like, on your left, and then passes you, and then, like, gets in front of you, and then does the whole thing, and you're like, bro, I was going at a regular pace. You don't have to yell at me. You know what I mean? Like, you got all the space in the road.
I appreciate the communication.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I think the dick move is more blowing past you.
Yeah, and then doesn't that make you just want to dust him right after that?
Guarantee, like, bro, like if I was just like in my cadence, you're blowing past me, you shift, and then your pass is done. It's like that's
it. That's all you had. Okay, hold up.
No, not even shifting.
I'm sorry.
I'm on the track bike.
Oh, hold up. Let me clip back in.
I didn't get to see the LA streets more depth into LA than I do. Obviously, he runs Chiefs. I'm more in the South Bay. I used to kind of attend more of the Chiefs rides more religiously. I kind of pop in maybe once a month, once every 2 months, just to say what's up to the boys. But you definitely see a lot of that elitism out in DT.
Some of the things that you guys already covered, but another one is like brands and companies that sell like merch, T-shirts, and socks.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that too.
And like they'd be selling it for $35-$50, and I'm like, how am I supposed to afford that? Like I want to support like another like bike brand, but like $35 for like a T-shirt.
Absolutely right.
Like what the hell?
No, that's a different kind of, that's like internet elitism, right? Like there's like cool guys now, like super like bicycle superstars, and then they're like, who are you?
Swag boys.
Yeah. Who are you?
Swag boys.
You know, swag boys.
Yeah.
That's what you call them, swag boys.
Swag boys. Swag boys.
So there's bicycle swag boys for sure.
Oh, for sure, bro, and that's the biggest thing too. Like just because you're wearing a $200 jersey doesn't mean you're cooler than us.
I know, right?
Like, bro, we got our own cool factor. Not like we're trying to be cool either, but like.
Or if you have enough like money to like make your own kit, and you have your own little team or your own little brand, and like.
That's
cool.
That's cool, but don't be a jerk about it.
Yeah, but most people like they are jerks about it, and they kind of rub it in your face, like
I can see it.
You can't have this.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about bikes, in my opinion, is that a bicycle is a representation or like an extension of your body. You know, so the way I see bikes, like a lot of people in the bicycle mechanic community, they'll say, "Oh, it doesn't matter how it looks; it just matters how it performs." But to be honest, I'm more on the side of like, I want my bike to look a certain way because I feel better riding it. You know what I mean? Like it represents me. Like I want my whip to be fresh how I want it to be. You know what I mean? So in a lot of ways, the bicycle community has a lot of room. You got a lot of room for the Ferraris, right, of the road biking community, and then, but you also got room for the custom guys that have crazy weird stuff, right? Like there's dudes with tall bikes, speaker bikes, funny bikes, all kinds of weird stuff, you know? Then there's the grunge guys, right? The guys with the stickers all on their frame with like a fuckload of shit attached to it, bags and shit, going across the country, you know?
Yeah, the bike touring fools.
The bike touring fools, yeah. There's all kinds of, like, you know, you get variety. So I'm happy to be able to deal with so many different people, and yet they're all connected by the bicycle. You know what I mean? Like everyone gets to play a little bit of the bike, right?
Yeah, you're talking about because cycling has a lot of subcultures, and
yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, subculture.
You're gonna feel comfortable with those bikes and the people that are in that subculture. You're gonna find it eventually, whether it's like fixed gear, racing fixed gear bikes, or popping wheelies on your fixed gear bike.
Yeah, even those two things are different.
They're different.
Yeah.
That's a whole totally different crowd too.
Yo, do you want the fast aero fixie or do you want the fat chubster fixie?
No, here's the funny part that right now the trend is to turn track bikes into FGFS and go do tricks on them and not go fast on them.
Yeah, that started like circa 2016, I think.
Yeah.
You getting super wide bars on your thin track bike.
And it's just like I'm cool, but then you keep seeing track bikes fall apart.
Yeah, those things do buzz pretty easy, you know. Cyclocross is a big thing now too. What do you guys think about cyclocross? Cyclocross hybrid.
Hella fun, hella
dirt.
sketch.
Bro, if you're not riding dirt, you're not getting hurt. Seriously, look, I have like a $50 size hole in my kneecap right now from riding dirt on Sunday morning.
That's
honestly, look.
Unfortunate.
Here's where, man, we got so much to say about dirt. It's our thing.
It's your thing.
It's our track lacrosse and cyclocross right now is our thing. The biggest reason we started throwing races last year, one, because racing was out of just pocket. Period. It wasn't even on the table.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Me and Ed had like kept bringing the subject up over the years that we knew each other. Like, dude, why don't we do races? Why don't we do races? My birthday was coming up. We had like 2 months to figure something out. We had a couple other shops to pitch in, and they're like, we're gonna throw a birthday party race. We found a spot. It was a Wetlands Park. Scoped it out, did a recon, make sure no one's gonna, burn us down and shut us down. Dude, we threw a race on my 30th birthday. We called it the Dirty 30.
Oh yeah.
Like full track lacrosse event, cyclocross. We did 4 categories.
Yeah, I was there for that one, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, the one that was under the bridge right there on Long Beach and Delama.
It went like DeForest Park, right? Yeah. Sick ass little park. I used to go to that park, maybe 2009 when I had the first bike shop. There was actually dirt jumping track in there. Did you guys ever see that before they demolished it? Before they put that little hiking area thing with the little track and all that. Yeah. All of that, literally the whole thing, it was dirt jumping track.
Probably just guys coming in with tools and making them too. Right?
Absolutely, bro. Yeah. This is exactly what it was. And they were there for many years. I had the privilege of riding them 2 or 3 times before they got demolished and turned into. It looks nice how it is too now, because low key back then, it was a jump track, but you had to jump over bums and stuff. You know what I mean? There was hella bums in there all the time, and it was sketch. And, you could get jacked.
So that all those little details, those variables that you're adding in there, that's kind of another thing that feeds the whole dirt beast.
You like that?
The variables.
You like the the variables. Well, yeah, that's what makes it, right? Like,
that's what makes it.
So when I first got interested in track lacrosse was because, if you live in South LA, there really is not much dirt around. You know what I mean? It's kind of a concrete jungle out here. So what happens is I grew up riding fixed gear, right? And I love fixed gear. I can do wheelies, and I love playing with the fixies. And it's great on concrete where it's flat, but then out of nowhere, like YouTube I started watching videos of dudes mountain biking, and I was like, hey, that mountain biking shit looks dope. So I built a mountain bike, and then I went mountain biking. But if you live in LA, you gotta drive. You gotta go to Fullerton Loop. You gotta go to Pasadena. You gotta go to Turnbull Canyon. You gotta go somewhere,
Yeah, it's not around the corner.
It's not around the corner. Yeah. So I started mountain biking. When I moved to San Francisco, mountain biking was the shit, bro. That's like the best part of San Francisco. You can go to Marin County. There's DeForest Park. There's Golden Gate Park. Like, you can wake up. If you live in the city, you just wake up and go hit some dirt.
No more than 5 miles and you already hit trail.
Exactly, bro.
Right.
So I started riding mountain bikes, and then it came to me one day. I was like, whoa, what if we rode track bikes in the dirt? That would be crazy, right? And it's like as if everybody had the same thought, because immediately after that,
a couple guys
did that, and I was like, wait. And then there was a tracklocross race up there, and then we participated in it and all that stuff, and then we started building tracklocross bikes, and then now it's a thing. Now you can get one now, right?
I honestly feel like that door is barely still being open.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure, bro. So much potential, right?
I feel like it's barely being open, but I feel like 10 years ago this door was opened and no one saw it. Because I've been doing some research. The 6-bolt ISO build wheels for fixed gear.
Oh, so you've been trying to figure out how to get disc brakes on the fixie.
No, I'm not even gonna. Well, I have the disc set up on the front, but what I'm getting at is the technology of building 6-bolt fixed cogs.
Oh yeah, that's been around for a while.
For a while, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking into building that setup myself for track lacrosse. People are looking at me like, I've never heard of that. I'm like, you.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money to do it. Is all. Like, if you wanted a fixed gear hub that had a disc brake mount, oh shit, you're getting ready to pay White Industries money. Or
BLB sells them for $180.
Yeah, you know who was the first people to be keen to the track lacrosse thing? Who've been putting disc brakes on?
I believe it was Wyatt or Paul, right?
Well, I mean, not the technology wise, but the subculture that first made it easy. Bike polo, bro.
Yeah.
Bike polo. Because these guys have had disc brakes on their fixies for a while from playing bike polo. And when I played bike polo when I was in San Francisco and when I was down here, it's kind of doesn't exist in LA anymore.
Yo, he's got a bike polo setup. He's got the
he's got
the mallet and everything.
Yeah, with shout out to SF Bike Polo. Those guys hooked me up with all that gear, and I used to sell that stuff at the shop as well. It's a small community, but those guys have been running disc brakes on their track bikes for a while now, you know?
So that purple bike I have in my room hanging, that Peg is a prime example of the bike polo industry. They would sell their frames fixed out of the store with a steel disc mount.
Yeah.
And you're like, on a 1-inch frame, and you're like, that's unheard of.
Yeah, that was a thing, yeah. And there's also a company from South America, I think from Peru, called Merino Bikes, and if you guys never heard of this company, they're pretty sick.
I've seen Merino on Instagram.
Yeah, they built back in the day. They used to build fat like 29er fixed gear bikes, like with a 14mm dropout. Like, we're gonna get into nerd technical bikes, but yeah, they used to build fat fixies, and then they built polo bikes and all this other stuff, and so now they're getting into this too. MASH SF and the store up north and Chinelli have a few bikes as well that have cantilever brakes. I wish they would have made a disc brake version, but I don't know why they chose to go with the canti brake.
So that's always for us dirt riders. We see that a lot. Who's picking canti? Who's picking disc? And what's your reason? And why are you not using a V brake?
Yeah.
That's a big topic between us also.
So I'll explain why no V brake real quick. It's an easy one, because if you're having to use drop bars, there's no, like, the cable pull doesn't match. So if you put a drop bar lever and you connect it to a V brake and you hit the brake, you're just gonna fly over your bars. You're just gonna, and they feel hella squishy and whack. So what you want is cantilever brakes if you have a drop bar. Now in the track bike world, I think what happened is people are thinking cyclocross. They're thinking road bikes that have drop bars, but making them track bikes. So this is where the argument of cantilever brakes comes in. I think that's why the first tracklocross bikes have cantilever brakes. It's like a crossover from cyclocross stuff, which in my opinion is whack. I never liked cyclocross in general, like the bike. I like cyclocross, the culture and the racing is cool. But the bike, I always thought it was weird. Like, it's not a mountain bike, it's not a road bike. Like, it has gears, it has a weird position. You know what I mean?
It's a definite splice and hybrid. I think it's a pretty cool cyclocross bike though.
Yeah, the Santa Cruz.
What is it? What Santa Cruz is it?
The Stigmata.
Oh yeah, that bike is pretty rad.
It's fire, man. It's cyclocross.
I would flat bar it.
Oh, that would be dope.
Oh.
I'm building another cross bike and I'm putting flat bars on that one. It's gonna be a beater one.
Sick. And
For sure.
Isn't that funny? We all do that too. Like you go to build a bike and you're like, hey, this frame is dope. And then next thing you know, the bike became too Gucci. And you're like, I don't want to ride this bike. So then you build a beater bike. But then you start putting Gucci stuff on your beater bike, and then your beater bike becomes the Gucci bike again.
That's where I'm at right now. Like, I got this Santa Cruz that I don't want to fuck up because I know I'm clumsy as hell. And I'm gonna do the race in 2 weeks coming up.
Yeah.
And I don't want to crack that frame. It's carbon. I don't want to break it.
You know, I'm gonna give you my younger brother, Josh. His words of wisdom is it's meant to be ridden. This is what he told me. Bro, you're supposed to ride it, bro. It's meant to be
Ride
ridden.
that bike, man.
No, I'm gonna ride it, but just not on race day, man. It's gonna be hectic that night.
So what are you gonna ride?
If I don't have that beater cross bike that I'm building, I have a mountain bike and I'll just do it on the mountain bike.
Here's a cool one I kind of want to throw out there. I don't think there's many organizers racing at their own events right now.
Like racing in the event?
Yeah. We both compete in our own events sometimes.
Dorothy from Socalcross series. It's not happening right now because of COVID, but throughout the year she's been organizing Socalcross in LA County. She organizes these big events that has like about 6 or 8 categories from like the youth to 45 and over. And she does like 2 races and like she usually podiums. Like she kills it and and this thing is big. Like I'm talking about like not just like our stuff that we do. Her is way bigger. Like they set up
a couple tiers above.
They set up steps, plywood. Yeah, man,
that's
cool.
cool.
Shout out to Dorothy from Socalcross.
There you go. Shout out.
Yeah, I think that's
inspiration.
cool.
Inspiration of reals.
Honestly, we love organizing this stuff, but at the same time too, I can't have everyone have the fun by themselves, bro. Like I organize, like we both go out and test these courses out. We go repeatedly. We go down. We get back up. We record.
You're like, oh, well, we're gonna have to change that corner real quick.
No, and it's
you
like,
know what I mean?
But at the same time too, I want to go throw bowls with everybody.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like I really want to go throw bowls with everybody. Because then at the same time too, it's like the only reason we kind of got into this is because we're not the fastest guys at crit, so dirt became an option because the fast guys at crit were scared of dirt.
You know, I think that's a good point. Is that maybe you're right about keeping it grunge. That maybe you said that all these things about the dirt, all the variables, right? The things that you can't calculate.
Yeah.
With all these, like, big-headed fools that are just like, I need to know everything. I need to know the math. I need to warm up. I need to know how this angles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to do 50 warm-up laps so that I can race and do 2 laps and win. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those guys that are overly calculative, you might be right. Like they may be afraid of the dirt because there's too many variables, and they're just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna do that. And
here's the thing: we saw it firsthand. We saw people at our events last year, the cross races, are like, "Nah, we're good.
We're good on that.
We're good." Damn. They saw obstacles and they said, "We're good."
Yeah.
Straight up.
For real.
honestly, bro, I wear that as a badge. Cause it's
cool.
like when you turn down when the hottest heads in your county say, "Now we're good."
Yeah, it's gonna be a matter of, all right. So the dirt keeps away certain people, but then who is it opening an opportunity for? Like, who are the people that are jumping in now?
Those people that you didn't know were killers.
Yeah, and they're monsters.
Yeah.
Courier fools, people who haven't raced, but we're making it look fun, so they just want to give it a shot, and you'll be surprised that they come out on top. Example, at the gokart crit, there was just this teenager that came out. He's under Crenshaw Goon, and he got second place against a pro who's done like a red hook crit.
He raced. It was Frank Martucci that podiumed in first. Dude from Team Oakley.
Oh yes.
He podiumed and homeboy came out in second was his youngster.
That's crazy.
He's like 17.
No one knew who he was. So like I think that was like the first night. I've seen him before, but I never met him.
Look, check this out.
Yeah.
Frank ran Frank race Rad Race in Berlin.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Right? Number one, he's already grown man. He's got a one up on him. By all means, we kind of had the feeling he was already going to take it.
But somebody...
We gave props to this kid, bro. Because he wasn't even 18 and he made the man sweat.
Well, you know, we forget that, you know, when you're 17, 18 years old, you're just full of power, you know? You're just doing the most in those years, you know?
Kid energy.
You're dumb, and you're taking risks that usually an older person looks at and they're like, you know? They hesitate a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to tell you, you get on your bike, you're not going to do the same things you were doing when you're 18 years old on your bike. You know what I mean? Even I won't. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
You know what I
agree
mean?
with you.
So just imagine, apply that to racing. Some of these kids, man, they're little monsters, and they're just starting out. So imagine where they're going to end up in a few years. And it brings up another good subject about maybe that's where the division was at, right? Because I feel like the last generation, which wasn't even that long ago, maybe 10 years ago, right? The last decade of cool fixie stuff, which was like Macaframa, To Living Right in LA, Keo Curry, rest in peace, and all these cool guys, right, that made fixies cool. And then it kind of just went away. Remember, there was a time that it just kind of went away.
Disappeared.
Even the bicycle manufacturers that made trick bikes, like Grime Gold, Volume, Unknown,
disappeared.
Leader, they all went out of business. They're all done.
And when you see the bikes, it's like, that's cool. That's a memory.
Yeah. And so now I feel like there was a gap in time where there was nothing there, right? And now this is where we get these new kids, you know, coming into the scene, and they're starting a new thing, right? Like it's like the old thing, but there was a disconnection. Am I right? Yeah.
I feel like they're me shopping a lot with brands and selling stuff. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like there's a total gap in the style of builds. Like the whole FGFS disappeared, died. But then the 29ers came out.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And now we got the wheelie kids. Yeah, we got the Goon Riders, and we got the SE kids.
Yeah. You know what? I have the SE Us versus Them, that gray. Talking about FGFS.
Yeah.
You know what trim that is?
I know what trim that is. Yeah.
So compare that up to like a 29er. I could sell the 29ers in there, but that's not a wheelie bike. To me, that's a gravel bike.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. It's the same thing, you know. And these wheelie bikes are basically just big old fixed gears, but they're just freewheel. You know what I mean? And they got a brake.
Yeah.
That's really the only difference.
The cool thing is that we're actually getting to see some people try to bring back the remnants of that decade that you're talking about.
I think it would be rad, you know.
Yeah, we personally partnered up with our buddy Willow. Shout out to Willow. He's the face for Fighter Bike Co.
What's it called?
Fighter Bike Co.
Fighter Bike Company.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
They're making track frames. I personally make the stencil kits for their painters. So they come get their vinyls from me. They go shoot it to their painter guy, and then
Cool.
Yeah. What I think is really cool is these guys have prototyped. I tell you what, like the first handful of bikes, like less than 10 bikes, handed them off to a little sponsor rider that they have and whatnot. Now they're going full fledged on trying to bring back like the design they're basing it off of. When you see it, you'll be like, I know that bike.
Yeah, that would be pretty rad. You know, there's a lot of new bikes that are just the old bike just revamped with new stickers.
Exactly.
But, why not make it a whole thing?
And
I'll tell you what, if I ever got rich, like for whatever random reason, and then all of a sudden, I was just like, the first thing I would do is probably start a bike company. Probably just start building bikes exactly how I want them. You know what I mean? Because right now, what I have to deal with is I have to take bikes that are not configured how I want them, and then I'm basically a reconfigurement or a reassembler, you know, or I assemble bikes that are custom because there are things on them that I don't like or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make them. We have to work with these frames that are not designed for that, and then we have to make them work. You know what I mean?
And then the choice is it your personal or is it a client's?
Yeah, exactly. So then now, that's
that's a whole other conversation.
No, I've gone beyond that hump already. I don't suffer from that anymore. But when I used to build bikes, like back in the day, that was always the thing. Damn, like you always build something dope, and you're like, nah, I don't want to sell this bike. You know?
That's a hard one for me. When I see the cool ones leave.
It doesn't happen anymore. I build boundaries now. So now I'm building a bike for myself, or I'm building bike shop bikes. You know, it has to happen at some point because otherwise you're gonna go crazy. You know what I mean? Admittedly, I still do a lot of swapperoos, like parts swapping. Like, hey, what if I put this over there and that? You know, it's like the Legos. Like you're just constantly moving stuff over. Like, oh no, this stem looks better over here, and you know. Yeah,
that's. I think that's a big thing for us too. Accessibility to parts.
Yeah, that's my main niche. I think. Yeah. My main niche is in getting parts that are difficult to find, new old stock parts, from even from that era. I have a lot of old leader bikes from the era, old bikes that are brand new.
So I've stepped into the shop a couple times. He's got a nice assortment of wheels.
Yeah, you should come in one of these days and check it out.
The older leader frames that you had, those TRKs. He's got a couple cool tracks.
Those are trick bikes? Or?
Yeah, I have the track ones as well. I have like the 25, the 35, the 21. But the because I think Leader went out of business in 2014. So it's, to be able to still have some of those bikes be brand new and never used is like super hard these days. You know?
So I have a question for you. How do you feel about New Leader?
I haven't seen what New Leader looks like. All I've seen some of their bikes like here and there, and it's unofficial. From what I know, that it's not the same thing at all.
It is, but it isn't.
I've looked at some of their seat posts that have drifted by my shop a few times, and I've looked at some of the forks, some of the frames, and all of it looks completely different. The logo is different. I mean, it's similar, but it's a little bit different. And I feel like it's not the same thing. But at the same time, it's a nostalgic bike. Leader was not like a high quality bike. You know what I mean?
They weren't ever bad though.
I've seen a bunch of those things break, especially the track bikes, like the aluminum ones. Those things busted all the time. The steel bikes. Different story. Those things are great.
Yeah, the TRKs.
I'm a steel kind of guy, Like I kind of gravitate more towards steel bikes and titanium in the high end. But I'm not a fan of carbon fiber bikes. I feel like they're like disposable bikes in a way. They are the best in performance, of course. Nobody can argue that. Like if you want a bike for performance, you get a carbon bike. But I mean, some of the guys that you see with carbon bikes is like a dude that would spend like $10,000 today on a 2021 Specialized Venge, and then next year spend another $10,000 for the 2022 Specialized Venge. You know what I mean?
I see that a lot.
And it's like, why? And then they go and flip it for like $5,000, and like, dude, you just lost all your money on that.
Because they want the best, the most fastest, lightest bike available in the market today. You know what I mean?
Dude,
think about this though. Carbon fiber. A lot of people don't like to talk about this, but from my experience, all carbon fiber has a shelf life, and nobody wants to talk about this, but people manufacturing bikes today out of basically composite plastics, right? There's basically a type of epoxy and woven with fiber and stuff. It has a shelf life, so if you leave carbon, even if you left it sitting for a while, if it gets exposed to UV for too long, right? If it gets brittle, and it's not something that you can leave stored away and then come back 50 years later and just jump on it and be good. You know what I mean?
You have to make sure it's good.
Yeah. All these 90s bikes that are made of carbon fiber today are unusable. You know what I mean? And which bikes can still be ridden? The steel bikes. You know what I mean?
That's specifically why you see those Spinergies explode on everybody.
Yeah. So, but there's no argument that they perform better. They're lighter. They're faster. They are the best technology available at the moment. Even better than titanium. As far as performance goes. Yeah. But titanium is like a life bike. You get a titanium bike, you're keeping that thing for life.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I've came across a couple light speeds, and those things, I don't think they'll ever die.
No, dude, there's nothing you can do.
Even if that brand ever disappeared, those bikes wouldn't.
Yeah, they're fucking like if there was if a meteor hit and a dinosaur thing happened to us, somebody's gonna find a Lightspeed titanium bike in the dirt
handful of
somewhere.
them.
You know what I mean?
A handful of them, bro.
They're inert. You know, they don't. Titanium doesn't rust. It's used in medical purposes for like
surgical equipment or whatnot.
Stuff like that. You know, and it's just an incredible material. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if you do, but we both closely watch Montenegro.
Montenegro Fabrications, the carbon guys up in LA.
He's pretty cool on the whole repairs and how he likes to keep carbon alive.
Yeah, and that's another thing about it is the warranty, the
aspect,
whole like this is what I mean by carbon fiber bikes are like disposable. Like the way that they're designed is so that when it busts, you go back to Trek or Specialized or whoever. And then you try and get a deal where they give you a crash replacement, something like it has to do with warranty. You're gonna have to deal with warranty. It's not really your bike per se. You know what I mean? Have you met anybody that's bought insurance for their bike? I've worked at so many bike shops.
I've never
seen
heard
a lot
that
of
either.
people will spend $10,000 on a bike, and then they'll pay for insurance for their bike. And if something happens to them or to their bike, they just claim it on their insurance. I've seen it happen.
Well, I mean, I guess at that point you could claim it because it's a X dollar amount item, right?
Yeah, and they, from the moment of purchase, they buy the insurance. So it's a crazy thing, and they ask for details. They go to the shop. They're like, "What's the serial number? What's this?"
Oh yeah. At that point, yeah. If a service provider is gonna cover you on a $10,000 worth item plus injury,
so what's the obviously if you don't have $10,000 and if you don't have $200 for a monthly premium, what are your options? You go to these guys, right? Like Montenegro or any of these like other repair facilities. Like up north, there's another carbon repair facility that does that, and that's how you keep old stuff going, right? So like, you can buy a used frame that's busted and do a wrap on it, repair the carbon, and keep riding it, right? Mm-hmm. So that is necessary. But the industry doesn't like those guys.
Oh no.
The industry doesn't
we
like
know,
any of those
we
guys.
know that very well, and I think he knows that very well too. And I think to be quite honest, I feel like there needs to be a couple more people stirring the pot, at least in a positive way. I feel like people like him only encourage people like us to want to move forward and actually step into work and get work done and do things. I feel like he's doing things for the community in that aspect.
No, absolutely. Well, it's something that is available, right? You can go, you can message him, be like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Oh yeah, we can do. It's still a shop mentality. It's still repairs.
Yeah.
Actually, it just came to me. The name of this, there's a similar thing, up north called Calfee Carbon Repairs. And those guys, it's basically the same thing, and there's a lot of I call them like specialists, right? There's guys out there who rebuild old forks. Like again, the hydraulic stuff, a lot of that stuff has similar problems. Their shelf life is not that good, right? So like, you let a shock from a bike sit that's like 20 years old, it doesn't work anymore, right? And you can't rebuild it, you can't find parts. But there are guys, there are specialists that go out there and say, hey, I can rebuild this old thing, hey, I can do this, I can do that. So as long as we keep having or supporting those guys, as long as those guys stay alive and make some money, then these big old companies are not going to take the whole pie. You know what I mean? Because that's what they want. They want to take everything. They don't want you organizing races, right? They want it to be sanctioned so that their product could be promoted in the race, right? Yeah. They that's what sanctioned races are. It's just a big promotional tool.
You want to hear what's even cooler about how our unsanctioned races promote?
How's that?
We reach out to cycling merchants, DIY people, vendors.
That's how you reach out to me, if anything. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like, we specifically reach out to people that make stuff. Straight up. Hats, wallets, trophies, artwork, bikes. Doesn't matter.
Bags.
It's like, the point is, you're a cyclist and you're putting in, right? So what we did was we got at all these people that we knew and the people that know us and we don't know them, vice versa. And what we're telling people is like, look, come be a vendor at all of our events, one of our events, any of our events. We don't care. We don't want your money. Keep all your cut.
That's a good idea. Man.
Give us your product for these riders to take home and talk about.
Yeah, I think that's the, like, personalized, like, oh, this came from these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these guys are over there.
And I get it. Some people are there to pick up their podium money and go home. I got it. We have no intent for profits.
You can tell right away, like, if your motive was to make money, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. You'd be like, hey, I want this much cash, bro.
Cash was never a subject, though.
Yeah.
Look, there's money interchange and whatnot. Fees have to get covered and whatnot, but we put in prior to all this stuff to make sure that people can even come out and party with us.
It's you don't even have to. It's without a question, without a doubt, that you guys are not motivated by money. It's obvious. You're saying you go out and you do the ghost bike thing, and you guys organize races. It seems like you just giving back, or not even giving back, because sometimes we don't even get nothing from the hood.
Yeah.
We're just putting in. You know what I mean?
It's out of our time, and really we do it just to keep the cycling community alive, because we know that it dies off sometimes, and then it comes back, and then we got like other factors like e-bikes coming on, and
stuff like that.
Things like that. It makes you worry, like, man, is this scene gonna survive?
Yeah, I feel it.
And
well, I have a proposition. What do you guys think about? I've been thinking about it because COVID's been kind of rough on people, Yeah. I want to do a techno bike party.
Oh, bro, we're always open.
I have a speaker bike that's like so loud that you can hear it 10 blocks away, bro. Like, no joke. And so just imagine like everyone just coming out with bike lights. It'd just be a dope ass thing.
What did you like?
Well, the thing is, we've already had like a DJ play. We have one of our DJs. He's a mom rider, a bicycle club, and he always pops up to any of the bike parties that we do. And even one of our last races in November, he came out and played.
Sick.
And
shout out to mom riders.
Yeah. Mom riders. So if you have one that's a fucking portable bike,
bro, my bike will destroy any speaker bike ever made.
You have a cargo bike, or what is it?
I have a Yasujiro. It's a 20-inch bike, but it has like you have seen like the workman bikes that have a 20-inch wheel in the front, but then they got a big ass pizza rack.
Yeah.
And in the back it's a long tail, so it's a long tail and it has a pizza rack, and it's got two massive speakers mounted to it.
I gotta see that.
Ridiculous.
That was that short one you had in the shop before, right?
Yeah.
I believe I saw it.
Let me see that, and we could talk about putting up a bike party.
It would be rad. Yeah.
I've been thinking about it too, like a rave or a techno type of party, right?
Yeah. I just like the name techno bike party.
There's specific holidays where we'll get together and do bike parties, so. That'll definitely be up for discussion.
We can do one as like a pilot run, and if it's cracking, then.
I mean, honestly, to be quite honest, pop up on a Monday night with it, and bro, it's already a party every night.
I'm already thinking a lot of things. I love talking about bike rides, but there's this ride called Ride With Us, and they organize bike rides all over Southern California. So they'll be in LA, they'll be in San Diego, and they'll just
I've heard, sounds familiar. Yeah.
Ride with us.
Yeah,
and
sounds familiar.
so I just came across them last Thursday, and I've been checking them out, and I'm like, damn, they literally just pop up. They set up a location and they do the ride. So with that bike techno thing, I say we do the same thing and show everyone love. We could do it in LA, Long Beach, right here on the South Bay.
See, now he's thinking bigger.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because, I mean, we all live in different areas. He's mostly in Long Beach. He lives in Torrance, but he's mostly in Long Beach. You're from this side, from like, what, Lawndale or area?
Yeah, this is the South Bay. Yeah.
South Bay, and then I'm from LA, of course, DTLA, South Central, so we can move it around and see what
that would be rad, bro.
Pull up.
Yeah, man. In the future talks for sure.
There's
something like
we're always open to connecting and teaming up with people.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, we don't have a problem with that. We don't got big heads. Our pockets are empty, but our pockets ain't full. As long as we all know we're going into the same thing together.
Have you guys alright? Besides your own races and obviously your own events and stuff, have you seen anybody else? I'll tell you guys about 2 or 3 things I've seen. I've seen there's a Venice Beach ride where everyone brings lights.
That's on Sundays.
It's on Sundays. I've seen that happens, and I've seen but the only thing about these wheelie kids is that they want to keep it hella VIP and they don't want to invite no one else. And you'll always see them doing this madre type of stuff, just, you know, jumping on stuff. And
well, they're mostly youngsters, so you gotta put it your way. Like, if you were 16
I
to 20.
did the same thing when I was 16. TBH.
16
you know
to 20,
what I mean?
like, that's
yeah,
what I
flyer
did.
parties, LA, that was a life.
I did that, so I can understand that they need an outlet, you know, and they're gonna do their Willy Kid ride. That's cool. I'm not hating, you know, but let's be real, they do fuck shit up. You know what I mean? Like at the same time.
And
literally.
In my opinion, it's a subculture.
I did the same thing, like I said.
Some of us don't mix. I personally won't go and reach out. Someone reaches out to me, I got no reason to turn them down. Cool, we can all hang out. You know, I'm not against it, but I don't think we're going out of our way to go hang out with them either.
That's true.
You know, like it's.
And you're not gonna stop the ride. You know, you're not gonna be the police. You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna happen either.
Look, like 9 out of 10 times. We're not getting jammed up by cops. I mean,
it used to happen back in the day. It used to happen all the time, bro. You have no idea, bro. Critical Mass, all these rides we used to go to.
No, Chiefs.
No, bro.
Had it too.
You had it too as well. Yeah.
We got our own tale of.
Damn. It's crazy, right? Yeah.
We do yearly. This is our biggest ride that we do once a year, and it's called the Fireworks Party Ride. And the whole point of it is bring your own fucking fireworks and this party on bikes.
Dope.
And every year it grows and grows and grows. And last year we did it during COVID. We thought it was just gonna be like 80 foods, you know, like. Cause usually it's 200, and we were like, everyone's gonna stay at home, so it's just gonna be like 80 foods, and it was like the biggest fucking turnout. It was
it's when you suppress people the most. I feel like it's when they need an outlet the most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then they're like, oh, let's really go now.
Last July we had like 600 riders taking
tight.
over downtown LA.
600 riders? That's
probably
incredible.
more, but it was about 600.
Can you imagine that you're responsible for putting together 600 people in one mass event? Can you just imagine that? Just think about it.
I can't.
You can't even hold that, bro. You just gotta push with it.
It's crazy.
You're turning your head and it's just like you don't see the end of the ride. It's just like it keeps going. The lights just keep going.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful things. You know.
Honestly,
party rides definitely where it's at for me. Yeah, I love it. I love to see so many people joining into one thing. You know, it's like a moving party. You know?
It's exactly. And then when you actually go and look through the crowd,
half
those people you won't see them again because they're not daily riders. They just come out to party, and that's cool. Let's party.
The party rides can get out of hand too, though. Am I right? Like we can start getting food throwing stupid shit.
Since like 2 or 3 years now, when I throw a party ride, usually for 4th of July or our anniversary or Halloween, we don't do store stops anymore.
Store stops is just vandalism and stealing shit.
Yeah, like, that store is gonna be empty with no snacks and no beers. Like it's gonna be completely.
You don't have to tell me, bro. I've seen it. I've seen it happen.
We ain't doing that.
I've seen it happen.
That type of shit is not welcome at any of our events or rides.
You heard it now. So if you're thinking about going to a cheap Lunes ride,
you're gonna get checked.
You're gonna get checked.
Yeah.
Hey, homie, where'd you get those beers? I didn't see you pay for that.
Here's the thing. I know damn well I was doing it when I first came around when we were kids.
Don't say that out loud on the podcast.
I said we were kids, man.
I can say that I can't say that I could say that happened. See, you don't even know what I said.
Well, I was a hoodlum, but here's the thing. Now that I'm older, like, yeah, we gotta go check the little homies.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day,
we did it because nobody was there to tell us not to do it. You know what I mean?
And now that we've made mistakes, we can sit there and try to tell these kids.
Yeah. You have to. You know, I'm gonna give you the Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility, bro. You know, like
you're Spider-Man, bro. you hold the ring too.
You know, not you. You have 600 people on your ride. You know what I mean? Like now you're responsible for their safety, and now you're responsible for that look that they're gonna give to you if someone goes steal some shit or something.
And you gotta understand to an extent, you're Cyrus of LA. You know who Cyrus is?
No.
You ever seen the Warriors?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can you dig it? That's you, fool. That's you right now.
That fool gets killed in the end.
No, but
no.
Let's you know we can delete that part. But what I'm saying, the unofficial like title, like you're kind of unofficially in that spotlight if you don't know it.
It's unofficially there, bro. I mean,
and it's like
you said, it's something that it just floats around. It's a thing, but you're not focusing in on it.
No, of course not. And that's the coolest thing. It's like we don't. Yeah, we're not walking around with like big heads, and it's cool too because we have homies and. Like, that's the thing. We have friends. Like, sometimes people get their big head because they get that big spot and they lose all their friends, bro.
Dude, you know something that's really funny that's happening right now? And back to the e-bike thing. They're having bike rides. Yeah, there's meetups. Yeah, these fools are just all across town and shit.
I have a friend who goes to them. So I already know the whole deal is it's only growing and expanding. And they kind of want to suck everyone into it.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah.
I mean, power to them, but me personally, I'm not gonna promote it at all. Like,
you heard it here. Yeah. No e-bike promotion.
Like you could come to the ride and shit, but like I'm not gonna promote it or anything.
It's pretty intense. Like, you know, obviously they're going faster and stuff. You know, and then they're getting deeper and deeper, and there's a lot of like YouTube like vlogging on the subject of e-bikes. And honestly, that's a niche right there all on its own. Like right now we're doing a podcast about the cycling industry. When have you seen a podcast about cycling? Never. You know what I mean? When have you seen like a guy review a particular kind of track bike or like we need these YouTube personalities. We need these internet personalities for bikes. You know what I mean? For bike rides, for bike racing, you know? For regular bikes. Because the e-bike guys, that's the one up that they have. There's like 1 million vloggers. And they're like, oh, welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about, and then it's just like 1 hour of them riding their e-bike.
And we're too tired. We're too tired to even pick up that phone to even go record ourselves because we're out pushing centuries like killers.
But hey, somebody's gotta do it, right? Somebody's gonna be the vlogger for the bike stuff, you know?
We're missing that right now.
I think that's the biggest thing that we could use some support on is we have photographers, we have good social media outlet. It's video. Yeah,
maybe some edits, maybe some cool stuff.
It's video. I mean,
some guy to actually do the work of like doing the video. That's always hard, right?
We have guys come out.
You can't do everything.
Yeah, we have guys come out, but it's partners, guys, or friends of friends, and it's
I know how that goes. You have to wait for somebody to make the thing, and
and it's cool. Like
we don't want to press them to like give us our shit or like. So we could share it with everyone. You know?
We have our own photographers so that we're on our own terms, but we also want to have our own camera guy, so we can have our own videos.
So show somebody this podcast. I'm sure somebody would be interested. You know, to hook you guys up with some video.
There's definite names on the list.
Video coverage would be dope. We're definitely missing that. We have the photos covered already.
There's a guy in the Bay Area. That you guys should talk to. He's the plug that I'm suggesting for sure. His last name is Esposito, and he does all the videos for everything SFBMA, all the races up there. He did all those videos.
Does he live up there?
He does the edits for MASH SF, for all that stuff. He came down here, did a few edits down here, a few races down here. You guys want to hit that fool up for sure.
We don't mind it. Now keep in mind, a lot of our stuff is going to be donation based off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is one of us. You know, he participates in the community. He rides his bike. And, he's part of all this stuff. So I'll pull up some stuff on the computer so that you guys can see what I'm talking about.
Oh, for sure.
Well, you already know who that guy is, but for everyone else to see, to check you guys out, we got illnsikk Instagram. You guys check out his bike builds.
Custom builds, little photos of me and whatnot.
Yeah, bro.
Some trail riding.
You're not wrong. You have the photo guy, you know, doing the.
Yeah, that's Nunez, Jonathan Nunez, and then.
That's Randy right there, Nikon Randy. Our main shooter is
Our official LAUWC photographer is Isaiah, but we've been knowing him as always.
Shout out.
As Sad Boy.
Sad Boy.
OG Chief.
Yup.
Sad Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, I took that picture.
There you go.
Hey, and you know what's hilarious, bro? I rode my e-bike to this bike race. I didn't even ride a regular bike. I was like getting off of work.
It's all good, man. The point is you came.
No one's gonna judge you, bro.
Nah, bro. Someone's gonna judge me. Still lying. Is that is that a Michelob Ultra bike?
Oh man, here you go. Okay, so this bike has a story. One of the Chief Lunes members, his name's Edgar, right?
Yeah.
Edgar. We all know him as
Edward,
IHA.
I think.
Edward. We all know him as IHA. Just this cool ass cat.
It's a slogan. Like, you know, like, he just says IHA, like, out of the nowhere. It's like,
Dude, honestly,
like,
I'm not kidding. He'll
like
grab his
Pokemon.
beer.
IHA.
Power juice check. He'll like smack the beer, and that's the whole thing behind the power juice check. Like, where's your beer? Like, let me check you. Like, power juice check.
Oh.
Like that, you know.
I feel it.
So, me being the custom paint guy for the crew, I'm like, he came to me and he's like, hey, I need a power juice check bike. And I'm like, it's a Michelob bike, isn't it? He's like, oh, you already know, man. I'm like, that's mandatory.
And most people are Michelob Ultra haters too.
Yeah, honestly, unless you have it already, I'm not gonna drink it.
I think it's delicious, bro. To be honest, I drink that stuff all the time.
It's not my beer.
All the messengers in SF, that for whatever reason, all they drink is purple cans. Lagunitas purple cans all day long.
I like hazy little things from what is that, Sierra Nevada? Yo, click on that blue bike though. It's my 11-year-old's bike.
This is your 11-year-old.
That's her SE 650.
It's all blued out.
So,
Supercast.
Everything is like nice on there, man.
Shout out to Supercast. Ooh, needle guards.
You don't see many kids with full builds like that, man.
You don't see many kids on bikes these days, to be honest.
And you see, that's the thing, man. That's one thing I want to get at. The fact that you don't see 650s laying around like that anymore.
It's ridiculous.
Right?
We'll pull up Chief Lunes' IG for y'all to find it. It's real simple. I like you guys' marketing, you know, straight to the point. It's just, that's what it is. Yeah. No underscores, no hat, no dots, no, you know. Those things always make it hard for people to find you.
Exactly.
Lunes.
Pretty sick. So you guys work with this bike shop here as well, Lux?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the homies. I've been friends with Pancho for like 3 years now, and he's had his shop open for 3 years.
And this is one that you guys are doing next, right?
Yeah, that's our next event. The title, Can You Hate Us More? We kind of bump our heads a little on it and try to put things together. We don't want to directly give out locations. We kind of want to keep that like anticipation / underground like vibe to it.
Figure it out on your own. If you know, you know.
You know.
It makes I think that's one of the things that makes unsanctioned races appealing, right? Is that it's a cool thing. Like you're like, oh, the homies know about this thing. You know about that? Oh shit, you know. Word of mouth kind of thing.
Right. It's a huge word of mouth thing, man.
Yeah, but if everybody knows the address, all of a sudden, it's not that cool.
Right? Yeah. No, we post addresses and locations, but no, per se, this location is, that word can is obviously in the name of the place we're going to, right? So, it's pretty obvious.
If you hadn't told me that, I would have never figured it out.
Well, can you hate us more, or can you hate us more?
I feel it. I still don't know where it is. But you don't have to tell me.
You'll find out.
I'll find out.
It's live on the link in our pre-registration.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sick.
So yeah,
this is pretty sick, bro. And then this is so just to clarify, LAUWR.
Yeah.
Tell me, what does it stand for? What is it?
It's Los Angeles Underground World of Cycling.
Okay, got it. Oh shit.
You're good.
Too damn loud.
You're good. Pop it.
Wait, I'm gonna just go to your website.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Sick. This is a clean ass website.
Oh, you put new logos on it, right?
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet. Yeah, we need to add the new ones in there.
Hey, how come I'm not right here?
What's up?
We need to add you in.
We could add you, bro. That's not even a problem.
Right here, right? Look.
Oh, there's more being added in there. We're actually gonna add like, we're seeing a shift in sponsors at each event so far. Some people are recurring, some people are not, and there's reasons. By all means, none of them are negative in our aspect. We just want to like collectively have like a resume of everyone that we like partnered up with, because say one day some of this goes bigger and we need that resume.
Yeah, I feel it.
You know what I mean?
It like you said, things move around, people shift around. You know, some bike shops come and go too. You know, not all of them stay around forever. You know, so that's also a thing. Personally, I had to recently close because of COVID regulation stuff and just boo-boo stuff. But I'm back up since February, so everything's been back to normal now. So if you're wondering where I went for a little while, yeah.
You went home.
I went home.
You went home.
But I have this video that we were gonna pull up as well. That one of your guys that participated in the event that was also down the street in Torrance. He made this video, so I'm gonna just premiere it here for a little while. Sick as fuck. Is he Japanese?
Yeah.
Oh damn! This first time seeing this.
Yeah, I watched this already. It's pretty cool.
Oh what? There's a lot going on in here.
Had permission to use the road. Nah.
Hell no.
Hey, you mean, hey, that's what he put in there, so just roll with it.
Yeah, right. I love his descriptions. So detailed.
Well, you know, it's like an outside perspective of your race.
That's me.
Did you see the schedule? Oh yeah, I saw it. Okay, so we're gonna try to stick pretty close to the schedule. Yeah. We're gonna try and close out these corners. Yeah. We're gonna get it going very soon. Registration starts maybe 10 minutes. Okay.
On down. That's me.
Yeah. Dude, this video is really cool.
That's crazy. Like Mike.
That's Mike. That's her teammate.
Is this your bike? What kind of bike do you take? What's the gear ratio are you using for this? 48. The race for tonight?
I suppose giving out information necessary to race. But hey, what gear ratios these fools running? Let me check real quick.
Oh, I like how
I still have time to switch.
I like how he calculates it though, cause Kieran riders see a difference than ratio, right?
Yeah, all the NJS stuff is very particular.
That's Gamma. For you guys that don't know, Gamma is unofficially LA's Fixie King at the moment.
Unofficially, LA's Fixie King.
Yeah, that was beast. Give him a road bike, give him a fixed gear bike. He's gonna kill it.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
No, I said LA because there's guys that come from out of town that make them work. That's crazy, man.
I didn't realize it was too dangerous for a beginner like me.
Well, he puts up some points. There's not a lot of rules.
Yeah, you know, I think that's what we were talking about, sanctioned versus unsanctioned. You know, some of the nitty gritty stuff that kind of puts some people off, but that some other people love.
Right.
You know, which is me.
He's using a GoPro, huh?
Yeah, look, I got that running start right there.
Yeah, for sure.
So here's another thing. You notice how we do elimination races versus like timed crits?
Yeah, I did notice that as well. Makes it a little more interesting, I think. More things are happening. Goes by faster. Yeah.
That's the concept behind it. You see? He's like comparing like track sizes to our track size, and he's like, nah man, this is spicier.
Damn, he's really scoping y'all out.
No, yeah, and I like it because it's very descriptive. And he's like honestly putting on people that don't know about it. I think it's cool. I don't think he's putting on too much.
Stunning.
Yeah, you seen him with his Camarati?
This is sick, man.
Yeah, honestly, this is so in depth.
We're gonna blow this video up on social media, man.
Yeah, I think I saw it on your guys', or
Yeah.
you shared it on your story. So,
Yeah, we're trying to, because we talked to the dude the other day. He was with us on our course preview on Sunday. He's actually going to try and come out and record all of our events.
Sick.
Like, out of his own time to make his own YouTube page.
Man, dope.
Oh, well, there you go. You can check him out right there.
Do Solo Club?
Do Solo Club.
Do Solo.
Do Solo.
Go Solo. Shout out, homie. Thanks for
Yeah.
supporting.
Look, dudes busting themselves on e-bikes. That's the next thumbnail. Yeah, bro. Bro, this was awesome. I'm glad that I opened up this whole bike aspect of the podcast with you guys, because I feel like you guys are the perfect introduction to this type of this material. So next time, definitely be hitting you guys up. And again, we'll be organizing some bike party stuff. Hopefully, come summer. Yeah, come summer, do some cool stuff. I'm thinking about a virtual sprint race as well at the shop. I have a sensor connected to a computer, so that you can do a Swift virtual race. So
Swift is catching a lot of popularity right now.
Yeah, Swift. Yeah. So yeah, well, I'm thinking about hosting a race like that at the shop. Nothing too crazy, just something small. So I'll be hitting you guys up about all kinds of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah. Don't forget, man. We only started organizing all this stuff for parties.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was in all seriousness a party. And we want to continue the party, and if there's more people that can add to the party, but still keep racers and /riders happy, let's continue the party, man.
Absolutely, bros. Hey, man, it was a pleasure bringing you guys on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
You guys are awesome. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to bring out more bike homies, so you guys will see a few other guys, a few familiar faces that you've seen around,
for sure.
and then maybe we'll do this again sometime. Yeah. Right on, y'all. We're about to sign out. Boy.